The United States Air Force has a different job than the United States Navy. It has different aircraft and operates in different ways. But the basic challenge of training the Air Force fighter pilot to combat readiness to kill and to win remains the same. Colonel Steve Mosier, Vice Commander of the 49th Tactical Fighter Wing at Holloman Air Force Base.
We take the pilot, the young pilot or a pilot coming back from recurrency, and we make sure he is capable of flying the airplane. He's got to be safe. He's got to be proficient in just maneuvering the airplane. He has to know his weapon systems. He has to be able to employ those. We have missions that are trained or designed to do nothing but that. The next thing we'll do is put him out 1v1 against a similar airplane with an instructor or a supervisor to make sure that he understands the situation he's in and is proficient. Then we'll go for a bigger program, and we'll put 2 airplanes against one, and finally working up to 4v4, 6v8, larger packages. We do that, and we don't move from one step to the other until we're comfortable that he is capable of executing the lower level missions, and then we grow ourselves up to the more complex activities. We like to fight the similar aircraft because they have different habit patterns, they have different capabilities, and they represent the threats. And I guess in the War of Vietnam, we fought MiGs. Frankly, they were no better airplanes than we flew, but their characteristics of performance were different. The way their pilots flew was different. We were surprised in some regards. We don't ever want to be surprised again. We need to examine the bounds of, okay, this is what he has, this is what we can do, and this is what we think he'll do, and we have to prepare ourselves for all those eventualities.
Dissimilar air combat training in the Air Force generally pits F-15s against F-16s and T-38s, simulating the enemy. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Nida commands a squadron of T-38s at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico.
When we do dissimilar combat training with other units, it's very important that we keep our mindset correct. In structuring the missions we fly, we look primarily at our limitations, and that is the fact we're a very unsophisticated airplane, Day VFR type fighter, very similar to the MiG-21. So in those respects, we plan our tactics to try to arrive at the visual fight, or the merge we call it, alive. In doing so, we present a multi-aircraft presentation to stress their radar picture. We try to confuse them, and once we do get within the 10-mile radius, is to hopefully have somebody there that is unseen.
We join Captain Mike Holmes.
We like to do the larger scenarios and get at least 4 Eagles out there together so we can work on the teamwork, not just of a 2-ship or a 2-plane working together, but combining that into 4 aircraft. Now we have 4 guys working the radio, 4 guys working the radar, and trying to make that happen. We like to have at least 4 targets so that we have to test our radar skills and our lookout skills. Today's scenario was built around T-38, simulating basically a MiG-21. We wanted to make them come up at high altitude where our airplane has a performance advantage, and then we wanted to force them into a turning fight so we could practice flying against that smaller airplane, fighting one guy while you try to find the next guy who's jumping into the fight. We had one radar that didn't work in the flight, which unfortunately was mine, so we did some switching around in roles, and we switched leads around, and now the number 3 guy, my number 3, ends up with the lead of the fight, and his radar and the other guy's radars take us into the visual environment against the T-38s. My first merge on today's fight, I was flying on the wing of my number 2 man, who has a lead because he's got the good radar. pickup on the T-38s was a visual pickup as they flew over the top of us. He flew over the top of my airplane and started the conversion down, and because we're at high altitude, my airplane has a maneuver and intake and his doesn't. I've got a thrust advantage, and so I was able to turn my speed initially into some turn rate, and pretty soon I'm driving an offensive advantage, although I traded some airspeed to do it. And we ended up going around about 2 360s at 20,000 feet while I'm working to get in position to use my gun. And because my radar didn't work, I want to get in close because my sight's not going to be as accurate, and I want to make sure I'm close so the bullets are actually going to hit him if I shoot. So I drive back to a position behind him. I unload my airplane to get the energy I need to go up to him because he's trying to go higher than I can get, hold me off from getting there. So I get a few extra knots of airspeed, and then I pull up with him. I'm able to point at him, and now he has to come down, and I've got the thrust advantage. So once he starts coming down, I'm driving the fight, and I'm able to sidle up behind him for a gunshot and finish that engagement.
Any getting for him?
Now going uphill.
Alright, let's terminate. Let's terminate.
428.
That's a kill on the bandit.
Okay, 51, terminate.
Where's visual? Yeah, let's pick up right here. He's only heading here. 53 has 87 square balance.